Welcome to our lovely future humans, our 5D collective, to the IHP community. And those of you who can see me, you notice something. Those who can hear me, you don't. Here's our lovely Hierophant, and here's our Protecting the Future. So we started with a short where I gave you some channeled guidance, food for thought, but because those of you who are listening don't do the short thing on YouTube, I'm going to share with you that which came through. Then we're going to continue chit-chatting about this lovely leadership, the 5D leadership, which basically is integrated brains. That's going to be something I'll explain in a minute. And when I say fragmented minds, it does not mean fragmentation. So I'm attachment trauma educated, and that's where, FYI, I'm still the pseudoscience woo lady because I'm spiritual mystic. And I channel source, God. You use what words you want. Just remember that the kings of the past are of the past for a reason, and that true leadership create more leaders, not followers. Unfortunately, as somebody who does understand the word rejection, the word betrayal, the word humiliation, the word injustice, and the word abandonment, I know who abandoned that which is their actual duty as those who want to talk about the word of wisdom or prophecy. So let us remind ourselves to put a hand on our heart. In my case, actually, excuse me. And I should I do it this way? What should I do? No, maybe the Father and Son, Holy Spirit. Thank you. So in my case, Jesus is the first who taught me to forgive with my good Christian Catholic catechist. That was my first light body. Dr. Daniel Siegel closed not a survival loop, nope, a actual enlightenment, continuously expanding loop. He taught me how forgiveness isn't about saying I validate what just happened. It's I know how to process a very, very, very big and most amazing thing called sadness. Okay, so when we cry, trauma charges are what we get to release, but there's also anger. Sadness is about me and you being able to bond. So in this case, it could be rejection, betrayal, abandonment. The injustice, anger comes with that one because that you want to correct. When it's mastered, it's amazing because you don't use the let me cast stones on you. And then the fear is actually also can come from falling. Hold on, let me go look at something because I have things that I'll be reading to you. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So, long story short, we're our own hierophants, the empowered ones, the enlightened community. Now, for the fragmented minds. So, as I said, disclaimer, I'm pseudoscience woo lady. I'm a yellow in the list of green, yellow, and red for lovely Neil deGrasse, or he might do red. I don't think so, though, because I like to be authentic and transparent and be like, I'm not trying to teach you in a way that is let me lie to you. It's more of there's a lot of epistemically lazy people out there, and they don't notice their knee-jerk reactions to things. So leadership doesn't project. True leadership discerns effective realism, strong emotions. We know our core wounds, and I do it this way because personal growth is all about behavioral mastering, not changing, and actually it's also emotional mastering. So people who use the PayHip guides, the PayHip free PDFs, that mine, yes, they're there if you're new. And if you're hearing me, go check it out. There's going to be some new ones, but the point is it's personal growth because you're not doing it to validate yourselves. Otherwise, it's just bullshit. It's not even growth. And today we have enough knowledge. That's what empowers, not the words. Because words, I can fuck it up, confuse it. Someone could just be reactive while I'm talking. They're talking over me. There's a bunch of shit that happens when projecting is what happens in the minds of those who, well, again, fragmentation. It's not the fragmentation in the way of necessarily the technical verbiage, okay? So, fragmented minds. That's our 3D, 4D brothers and sisters, by the way. Fragmented minds make broken wishes of the past that don't enlighten, but that will come true in their distorted perception and charged unhealed narratives and core wounds. That's called projection, just so you know. As they continue to live in a state of pseudo-aliveness, it's not funny or beautiful to see someone put grief on a pedestal and think we need to grieve and go through shit, because that's actually not it. I need air, water, and food to live. And really, first of all, air, then water, and if I am lucky, food. So making it into a pedestal, that's the whole thing of idealization, and pseudo-alive people don't have their ventral vagal state engaged. So they get off of that, which is a low frequency. It's not a low bad, there's no demons or monsters. It's actively dysregulation. So as they continue to live the pseudo-aliveness and the non-integrated brain, and they therefore will project every single bit of their stuff, they live in distress. And with rigidity and or chaos and or both, their subjective reality will come true. And they will carry on with that for their lifetime. Luckily, we don't carry transgenerational trauma on because their foresight is basically still where they don't know the future humans are here. And they don't actually observe their aura because they don't even know that if they were expanding, then their aura would expand because they would be able to focus their mind. So yes, I can read a hand, but the interpretation of a 5D mystic, spiritual one, and a true channeler, so connected to Purusha, Prakriti, pure consciousness. FYI, Purusha, I call it Shiva, Prakriti, Shakti, I bring it all in, Anima Mundi, and obviously it's just God and or source, whatever words you want. So they do the smoke and mirrors bit. When you hear a shaman telling you, go to him and not 10 years of therapy, if you're a spiritual bypasser and somatic bypasser, you're going to go to him. If you're smart, you're going to understand why not all spiritual mystics, and actually also a lot of different types of bullshit marketing strategies. Let me tell you, hold on a minute. Okay, so let me finish to share the message before I get derailed with my lovely stories and also personal growth tidbits. Their subjective reality and what they will carry on will be for them, but they will suffer not only in their dysregulated bodies, it's a sad business, but also their unsteady self-image. So when someone's getting off of panic attacks, when someone's getting off of dysregulation, when somebody's continuing to think that we have to go through the chaos and rigidity that is being brought forth as we speak, they don't know that they've betrayed, abandoned, rejected, and are continuing to be quite, I won't use the word let me humiliate you, because you can't humiliate someone who's blind, deaf, and not mute. The injustices of the world always become just because, one, dark matter and dark energy, please don't implode. Two, humans are brilliant, and that's from a love state, not an idiotic state. The suffering stuff, yes, if you're dysregulated, you suffer. If you learn to regulate, get a steady self-image, eventually you pivot, and your inner strength and courage becomes inner curiosity and external curiosity, which is why the left brain speaks and the right brain laughs. It's a good book by Ransom Stevens. So anybody who's not ready for personal growth or spiritual growth won't be back at IHP, but I never planned on being a therapist. I'm spiritual and mystic, but also I do inner growth mindset practices. Like seriously, I didn't even realize how many people don't know what self-help is. But then I remind myself, they're very sensitive and they don't believe in the scientists. So they are definitely like the flat earthers and anybody else who wants to continue talking about monsters, going to use a pendulum to make a decision, not notice that the direction they're taking is not anywhere near the direction they could take. But again, their fortune cookie is their destiny because they don't know about authenticity. So they haven't led themselves to be able to focus and gain a mind that is certain, and their faith, therefore, they do not wield. They don't wield their future, but they do believe in demons and monsters, and that Ouija board, well, the oracle of wisdom. Wisdom diffuses conflict because when you take a chance, it's always 50-50 into the unknown. And so when somebody wants to know for sure, that means they're uncomfortable with uncertainty. And that means they think that luck and that cats could bring bad luck, or walking underneath a ladder, or any of that. So illusion, yes, the illusional individuals, the spiritual somatic bypassers, they still believe in the monsters. So I'm going to pause. Perception is one that is beautiful when the fire, that is spontaneity, is not ruled by a, where's my lovely 2-year-old? Hold on. We had a lovely astrologer, Mars. Remember, I read that one to you guys. Wait for it. So we all have it. It's not a terrible 2. The only ones who call us terrible 2s are the ones who don't have a little patience. Have a little, there's a song that was going to come to my mind. So this one, apparently, the expression of your first Mars return is your terrible 2s. And that's when you learn to say yes and no and demand things. Luckily, as you grow up, you learn how demand is a word that is, I can, with my empowered ventral vagal state, actually not demand, is martyrs, blamers, and superiors are codependent, enmeshing, insecure, and annoying. Their frequency, by the way. So the projection is what they will experience, and their mysticism is going to continue to unfold for 3D, 4D, and their guidance too. But for the 5D collective, we illuminate, candle beneath our feet with waves of light. Hold on for it. That one wants to come through now. And this is something that my body shares with you. So none of us walk in anybody else's footsteps. And that's because even though we all know about how I've seen my past lives, future lives, all this beautiful stuff. So some people will tease Akashic record readers and how they know only of people who are telling them that they're like some famous person from the past. Yeah, well, again, bypassers like to, how can I break it down? Thanks God. We're all angels, and none of them are monsters. So, candlelight illuminates damage beneath the feet with wave of lights that come from the heart of the sky, the love force that made all creation possible. It does not know good or bad. You give it the clear intentions that will guide the formlessness to form and manifest the invisible into the world of matter through the cycles of life and the day-to-day evolving self, oneness with flow, and the relationships that you bring forth. You will create and grow heart and mind. And I'm not done, so wait for those of you who are watching. Candlelight illuminates damage beneath the feet with wave of lights that come from the unification, interconnectedness, and a sense of continuum with humanity, nature, the cosmos, Akash, spirit, source, God, dark matter, and dark energy, all intrinsically connected. Through the circumstances, or just through circumstances, in the night that merry laughing and handsome and mirror an invasion of the reflection of trust in humanity, human evolution, and the expansion of consciousness. Love, life, the essence of all that lives in form and comes from the formlessness of the heart of the sky. None of us will have ever walked in the shoes of another, but you better bet. Thanks, Dr. Daniel Siegel. Personality is a filter through which our temperament deals with us as one nervous system, body, being here on earth, yeah. And in awareness, you become aware of who you really are. And it's not personality patterns, it's not temperament, but you work with both of them, yes. So that's why mindfulness practitioner, mindset, all of these great words. This is why being a leader does not mean dominating the situation. It means empowering people to do what they would not have imagined possible. Thank you, Sadhguru. So our lovely future is going to be bright with those who have integrated minds. Now, the fragmented minds, again, don't represent any kind of danger because dysregulation is an unfortunate business, you see, which is what makes actually their state of being not something that one will be afraid of. Dark sides of neuroplasticity leads people to become something quite, I don't know how to say it. But anyways, our future is for those of you who are at our 13-minute mark, understanding what personal growth is, and that for those who have fragmented minds, they can actually go and get healed, and then they will join us. And that's why they will self-regulate. So leadership means that I can discern effective realism, and I discern it because I'm like everybody else with a nervous system, and I'm an embodied brain. And as for spirit and source, it doesn't get tainted. It's the whole thing of why a company can't lose its soul. Governments, systems, they don't lose the souls. They become betrayers because they are dysregulated people who are in their ego, and they got into their heads that which is distortion. So it's not a mean monster, it's a distorted human being who doesn't know how to get out of rigidity. So with their severe wanting to tell us martyrs, blamers, superiors, they don't wield their chariot, they actually just do things very recklessly, might I add. Their thoughts are not theirs, so they don't know how to wield any of that which is clear thinking. Oh look, I just had an upset thing come up, and if you try to tell them, they'll say it's not true. So they can't temper their depth because they don't know how to regulate intensity, and they can't be their own backbone because they have an unsteady self-image. So they actually do enmesh with other, and they become a whole group, by the way, and their fire, though, is not strong. It is very weak because the unhealthy self-righteous energy is of those who, again, have betrayed what they were meant to continue to bring forth. When you let your ego get to your head and you don't walk on the floor, you don't know how to be manifesting the real humility that every leader embodies. So when people fall for the distorted ones, it's not because of there being a monster. It's actually because epistemic trust of all of those Peter Pans and Lost Boys was broken. When you look at the Peter Pan story, we all know what happened. So childhood trauma has all to do with every single bit of what we get to see on this planet. Luckily, the future's made from the ones who know how to be clear of mind, clear of heart, clear of gut, because anger is about correcting injustices. But when it's ill-placed, then it becomes an asshole. Heart, it's sadness. I want to connect. But when you reject me because I am a person who reads tarot, and you decided that Reiki is also bad and that you want to own words in a book, no, that you're using books and throwing them at me, a smart human being, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, won't feel humiliated or like, oh my God, I'm so upset that I'm rejected. When it hits home, it's because it's part of your family. And that actually is the most amazing of empowering journey that you can ever do, is put a hand on your heart in the name of the Father and Soul and Spirit. Thank you, Jesus, for teaching me how to forgive. Thank you also, Dr. Daniel Siegel. And certainty. I don't want to be afraid. Fear. That's why certainty is actually my number one, but it's physical fear. So as long as there's no like physical danger, my panic attacks were the most challenging for me personally as I continue the spiritual growth and the personal growth. So when you're ascending your first light body, you'll remember it. Then you'll remember all the rest of them. As your energy body expands, you will stabilize. Oh, and for personal growth, it's you simply continue to pivot. Ventral vagal state again and again and again. And so as the new content, when it comes out, we'll be rolling with some fun stuff. Honesty can dissolve humiliation, but honesty can actually bring forth humility as you dissolve humiliation. Playing with words is fun. Integration can heal injustice, because an integrated world brings forth the me that Dr. Daniel Siegel talks about. And integrated brains, that's the healthy minds. And all of those who are healthy minds are fun, because they're epistemically curious and they don't get rigid or chaotic with anything. And when they see the suffering of the world, they know, like I do, it's not a monster. Actively, it's people who need help. You can't be angry at people who need help and that follow the wrong leaders because their epistemic trust was broken when they were infants, and they really have no idea they're projecting everything. It's not amazing, believe me. It's more like, wow, thank you. To me, it was thanks, scientists, for explaining exactly what I'm dealing with when I go out and meet a bunch of different people, because as I get older, well, they get more interesting. Belonging will resolve betrayal, and that's because those of us who, again, have healthy self-worth know emotionally immature people didn't choose to be immature. They actively didn't get given that which would help them succeed as a human being in life. Like, there's no, if we were ignorant, I'm not ignorant. You know what I mean? If we were ignorant, that's why they made up stories. But as a mystic, yes, I know of the energy planes. It exists for the 3D 4D collective who continue to do what they do best. Alignment to stabilize the fall of abandonment. Yes, as you have no towers that will push you to the edge of criticality, since the flow state is pushing us to the edge of criticality. It's a fun push. That's how fun it is to do the inner growth mindset, because your thoughts and your feelings, it's walk like an Egyptian. Wait, I need my hands to do that. And so that's where we're at. Reflection to disarm rejection. Yeah, and actually to remind yourself, being rejected by people who are ignorant and projecting and emotionally immature is not really rejection. They don't know what they're talking about. So it's not humiliating, but it is definitely something you want to keep in mind, that they can't hear you and that they talk over you, and that all they want to do is be loved. So as all of the good therapists have said, the ones particularly that teach us how to handle emotionally immature people, I didn't need them, but they taught us. Thanks, Therapy Nutshell Lady. They have a model. I just say, remember, it's a 0-8-year-old non-metabolized. And so all the trauma time charges that come up, it's basically how they protected themselves. So if you are a grown-up and you're doing personal and spiritual growth and you're a leader, you don't take things personally, and that's because you know that how many days does it take you to process rejection, humiliation, injustice, betrayal, and abandonment? Keep that question mark. We'll be back when I get that new content out. You'll know why I ask these questions. Oh, and let's remind ourselves, the foundation is being yourself the smart way. Stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable. That's the first framework. So you're stable on the ground. of your embodied brain, nervous system sovereign, study self-image. Here we go, heart open, Holy Spirit in my case, and all that is. You don't have to believe in it. You could just call it the higher self. And as we continue to regulate intensity, it's, hey, my emotions, and you know exactly what works for you. So think about that. How many days does it take you to process stuff? If you know your personality patterns and your temperament, then you'll know how sadness, anger, and fear work for you. And disgust and surprise and happiness, because you have all the range of emotions and they are here. And then you share them with safe haven secure bases with us, and then we continue to grow and have fun. And we make fun of people who put a scribbly board on wellness, because it's okay, you need more help with the EMDR, chop arts work, and somatics or something, because your window tolerance won't expand if you keep doing the scribbly board. But some people, that's their cup of tea. So anyways, thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.